All right, sports fans, here's the last video on life cycles. Aren't you tired of them by now? We're going to talk about lean practices and Kanban in this one. So we've seen this slide in the last video. These are not lean practices, but these are things that agile process models that are said to be lean will do. Cumulative flow diagrams, Kanban systems, small iterations, daily stand-up meetings, continuous improvement, and retrospectives. We're going to focus more on Kanban here, but we'll talk a little bit about flow diagrams. So the idea is, in a flow diagram, is that it shows the number of issues or tasks in each state. So, for example, and the three states are stuff you have left to do, stuff that you're currently doing, and stuff that you have finished. And so if you have calendar dates along here, as you start the project, you have stuff left to do, but then over time you move stuff from the to-do list to the in-progress list. And you notice this should stay about the same because this is roughly the capacity of your team. And then, of course, the to-do list can get bigger because you end up with new requirements, you end up with bugs, things like that. And then, but then also the done list also gets bigger. And so you have this stacked graph here that shows you where you are and what's happening here. The idea is this part's actually supposed to get smaller as this one gets larger. So eventually that will happen. So, but this is a chart that's typically used in systems that are using lean software development. And so then there's Kanban. No, it's not Can-Can. So Kanban is a set of techniques and principles designed to maximize productivity in knowledge work. It's all about three different things: capacity, as in the capacity of the team; flow, as in the flow of work through the team; and then visualization. How do you actually visualize capacity and flow? We'll see here that this looks remarkably similar to stuff that we've already talked about. So, capacity. Kanban balances the demand for work to be done with the available capacity to start new work. So if you have N people on a team, and if you require that nobody works on more than one task at a time, then the capacity of the team is N. And that would be when each person on the team has a task and each person is actively engaged in that task. And so in Scrum, the team creates a list of tasks to be accomplished during the sprint, whose effort matches the length of the sprint. So in a sense, that's the capacity of the team, because you have estimated how many hours each task is going to take. And you know the total number of hours in the sprint, right? It's the total number of 8 times however many days are in the sprint times the number of people in the team is the total number of hours in the sprint. It's not really that easy, but it's close. And so that's the capacity of the team. So Scrum is a time-boxed methodology because the iterations in Scrum, each sprint is exactly the same length. Okay. In Kanban, there's difference. So there's a current capacity of the team, and it's measured in tasks instead of hours. And the tasks are assigned to fill up that capacity. Once a task is finished, once somebody on the team finishes a task and moves it from in progress to done, then there's available capacity that can be used to work on a new task. So these ideas are similar to each other. Okay. And so then flow. So intangible work items are visualized to present all participants with a view of the progress of individual items and the process from task definition to customer delivery. Team members pull work as they have capacity, rather than work being pushed into the process when requested. So the difference is that instead of stuff getting pushed on you and you work on it as it arrives, when you are finished with something, you actively go and seek out work and pull it to you and start moving it. And teams self-organize and work flows through the team based on its capacity. You can begin to see where this originated in an assembly line feature where, for example, if you're putting a door on a car, you have a pile of doors to work with, right? So you have a task and you have a certain amount of capacity. As you put doors, cars are moving down the assembly line. As you're putting doors on the car, you're using up the pile of doors you've got. Eventually, you get to a door that has a piece of paper on the top which says, "Order more doors." So what you do is you then go over to the person who's making the doors and give them the piece of paper that tells them to make more doors for you. You then go back and continue to put doors on while the other person is now making more doors. And when they have made the requisite number of doors, and it's some fixed number every time, they bring the doors over to you and put them on your pile, hopefully before you have exhausted all of the doors in your pile, so that then you can continue to work. Oh, of course, they also insert the piece of paper back in the pile, right? And so this is what flow is like. So it's a lot like, you pull work. So then visualization. So this is the part, we didn't talk about this in Scrum, but we can in class. But this is exactly what happens in Scrum. And this is what the task board looks like. We talked about the task board in terms of Scrum. And this is what the task board looks like. Teams organize around a Kanban board. And the idea is you cannot improve what you cannot see. The board has always at least 3 sections: to do, in progress, and done. In to do and progress, there's typically a number underneath the header, which is the limit. It's the capacity of the team. And so you can always tell what the capacity is because it's sitting there, and then you can also figure out whether what is in progress, because you can just count. If you take Kanban and use it in an agile methodology, you will typically have more columns on the Kanban board. You'll have backlog, ready to do, coding, testing, approval, and then done. Because coding, testing, and approval are typically separate actions in a software development environment. You can drop them all into in progress, and then that's fine. It depends on how your team wants to do this. Okay, so there's a variation on Scrum using Kanban, which is oddly enough called Scrumban. So teamwork is organized in small iterations and monitored with the help of a visual board. Planning meetings are held to determine what the user stories to complete in the next iteration. User stories get added to the Kanban board. The team completes them, the team working on as few user stories at a time as practical, which is known as the work in progress or WIP limit. This is the capacity of the team at any given point in time. And so to keep iterations short, WIP limits are used. And then a planning trigger is set in place for the team to know when to plan next. And this is typically when the to-do list falls below a predetermined level. The to-do list has a limit. When you fall below some variation of that limit is when you need to plan. So in this case, you don't have fixed length sprints. You're attempting to not have a time-boxed methodology, but you're attempting to have a continuous flow of work. Scrumban methodology states that a team member should be working on no more than one task at a time. There are work in progress limits, which we talked about. There's typically 2 limits, one on the to-do column to trigger a planning meeting and one on the in progress column. The typical WIP limit is the size of the team. So there's lots of stuff been written about Kanban. So there's this great article on it at Atlassian.com. And there's another Kanban oversimplified. Kanban is the new Scrum from HackerChick, which I actually don't agree with, but it's okay. LeanSoftwareEngineering.com. There's a Scrumban link there as well that you guys can look at. And that's it. We are done. Thanks a lot. See you in class.